Hi, I'm going to talk to you today about going to Iceland and tips in our itinerary for Iceland. We went to Iceland for 4 days. Um, I love Iceland. It was beautiful. You just feel in nature. The air feels cleaner. Just an amazing experience. Iceland, though, is an expensive country to travel to. Not flight-wise, but to stay there. A lot of the food's expensive. I mean, you have to remember this is an island, so anything that they don't grow there or catch there, like seafood or fish, they've got to bring in. So which makes the food costs more expensive. So just remember when you go there, definitely know that the food's going to be pricier than you might find in the United States or other countries you might visit. Another thing is, you can rent a car when you're there, but be careful of the weather. You can rent a car and drive around the ring road, or you can take bus trips. We took bus trips through Grey Line tours, and we were based out of Reykjavik, which is the capital and largest city, and they have a ton of bus tours there, and they'll pick you up at your hotel. The benefit of doing this is you don't have to worry about renting a car. Also, like if you don't go in the summer, the weather can, change unexpectedly. So you don't want to be caught somewhere driving in a place you're not familiar with bad weather. So if you're going in the summer, I think I would love to go back sometime during the summer and drive the ring road. But if you're going anytime other than the summer, I'd recommend, just doing the bus trips, or if you're not comfortable driving. One tip, like I said, the food's expensive there. So, we stayed in a hotel that had, breakfast provided, which does save, we were able to fill up on breakfast. This helps you save some money. Um, as far as alcohol goes, of course, the bars are very expensive. I mean, it's nice to go out and get a drink. If you want to bring, some alcohol back to your room, I recommend, getting alcohol, wine or beer at the duty-free stores, at the airport. This is like probably the cheapest place to get it. And then you can have some alcohol in your hotel. Cause if you're going to go out, it's going to be expensive. And even though all the food's expensive, if you do research, there are cheaper places you can eat. Like if there's fish and chips, seafood's big there, because obviously that's something they can catch there, seafood and fish. So this is something you can get, cheaper. Also, you might want to stop. I always like going to grocery stores when I go to a foreign country anyway, but if you go to a grocery store, you could probably get cheap snacks to bring back to your hotel. That way you're not spending as much money going out and getting food. Now, don't rule Iceland out because of the cost of food. Actually, getting there can be relatively cheap. If you're coming from the East Coast of the United States, you can get a cheaper flight than you can sometimes flying to Los Angeles, to the West Coast of the United States. So you're able to get a pretty cheap flight to Iceland. Another option you have is that Icelandic Air a lot of times will have overnight layovers, 24-hour layovers. So if you're going somewhere else in Europe, you can stop and at least get to see Iceland for maybe 24 hours and get a free layover as part of your flight with Icelandic Air. Another tip is, just make sure you dress accordingly. Since we went off season, it was definitely colder. We brought winter jackets, snow boots. Definitely have a rain jacket there because you never know when it's going to rain, even if you go in the summer. So just make sure, obviously it gets warmer in the summer there, but not as warm as the United States. So just make sure, depending on what time you're going, you research accordingly, and make sure you get the proper clothes. So like I said, we stayed in Iceland for 4 days. We took an overnight flight, from the East Coast of the United States, to, Reykjavik. It wasn't that long of a flight, and we arrived there like at Reykjavik at like 5 in the morning. So at that point, I suggest, even though you're going to be jet lagged, try to get through the day, keep it an easy day. But if you sleep right away, your whole schedule is going to be messed up. So we checked our bags at our hotel, Center Hotels Club, which was in downtown Reykjavik. It was a great location, and we got free breakfast every morning, which was definitely a plus. So we started after they held our bags for us. We went to Broad and Company to get some much needed coffee. Their cinnamon buns are delicious. And then we walked around the city. We walked down to the harbor to see the Viking statue and just see the fantastic views there. Next, we took a free walking tour at the city, from City Walks, which, you basically pay what you think the tour is worth. And this is a fantastic option anytime you go to a new city. We really were able to learn about, Icelandic culture, about Reykjavik, and to get our bearings and see, some of the, major, landmarks and things that we, wanted to check out later on. After the tour, we went to the famous hot dog stand in Iceland to get Icelandic hot dogs. They're very famous. Bill Clinton has eaten there, among some other famous people. Their hot dogs are delicious. I think there's some lamb in there. And this is definitely a cheap meal. I mean, it's a hot dog. But definitely, fantastic and something you should try in Iceland. Next we went to the, church in Iceland, Hallgrímskirkja. Probably saying that wrong. Icelandic words are very hard for me to pronounce. But the church is, really beautiful. There's a Leif Erikson statue outside. It's just an iconic landmark in Reykjavik. When you see pictures of Reykjavik, you probably see the church and Harpa, which is the concert hall. So we were able to go up the church. You can climb it. You do have to pay a small fee to go up the stairs, but they have a tower up there where you can get fantastic views of the city. I loved seeing from up there all the different colorful houses in Reykjavik. Definitely gorgeous views. And after that, we went to Cafe Loki, which is a cafe that serves traditional Icelandic food. I mean, they have other food there, but we went there to try the fermented shark. While gross, it's a historical food in Iceland. Usually Icelanders don't really eat it anymore. But a traditional food that we had to try. I did not like it. We tried it with a shot of alcohol. It's something, they have a sampler platter you can get of all the traditional Iceland foods, and I definitely think this is a must do. Helps you learn about the culture. It's just neat to try these foods. When else are you going to get to try fermented shark? Then we also continued to walk around the city, went to Harpa, the concert hall, which is just, I love the architecture of the building. We were able to go in and see it from the inside as well. And then we went back to our hotel to take a nap. Usually on the first day, I don't really recommend taking a nap, but why we did is because we planned a Northern Lights tour for this evening. If you're in Iceland between September and April, more March, you can see the Northern Light. You can have a chance to see the Northern Lights there. That's the only drawback for going during the summer, during the better travel time, is that you won't be able to see the Northern Lights. So these tours I recommend because you never know when the views are gonna be best. I recommend you book it for your first night. You're gonna be tired. Go back to your hotel and take a nap. We did that. We got some fish and chips for dinner. Then we went on our Northern Lights tour. The thing is, they guarantee that you could try again if you don't get to see the Northern Lights. So if you do it your first night, you don't get to see the Northern Lights, you can plan your tour for the second night and keep going. The problem is if you try it the last night you're there, you're not going to have a chance to try again. So we got really lucky. We got to see the Northern Lights on our first night in Iceland. They were gorgeous. I definitely recommend going to see the Northern Lights if you've never seen the Aurora Borealis. It's indescribable, and the pictures they have do not do it justice either. So on our second day in Iceland, we went on a tour with Greyline Tours to the Golden Circle of Iceland. This is the area that there is geysers there, waterfalls, and the Thingvellir National Park, which were the main things we saw on our tour. So this is about a 7.5 hour tour. It's really not badly priced for any of the tours from Iceland. That's why I think it kind of saves you money on renting a car, but it would also be great to be able to drive around Iceland too and be on your own time. So we first stopped at Thingvellir National Park. This is it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. it is where the parliament used to meet in Iceland in like 1000 AD. I mean, this place is old. They used to have parliament meetings there with the Vikings. It also is a place where the tectonic plates for North America and Europe meet. So I mean, just an amazing place to see. Just something I'll never forget. Also, if you ever watch Game of Thrones, which I'm a big fan, they filmed scenes at Thingvellir, especially the scenes that took place in the Vale. Secondly, we went to Gullfoss waterfall. This is a really beautiful waterfall. There were almost like 2 waterfalls in one, and it was just amazing to see. Definitely a must-do if you're in Iceland. The next we went to see Geysir. We went to the geothermal field where the geyser, which is where the name geyser came from. This is spelled IR at the end. And you get to see it erupt. It erupts almost like every 10 minutes. We got to see it erupt a few times when we were there. I've never seen a geyser before, so this was really cool. And just walking around the geothermal fields was really neat. This was a great day, you know, and I definitely fantastic tour in Iceland. So for dinner that night, we went to Say Griffin to get lobster soup and bread bowls. This was an affordable dinner, but also it had to be one of the most amazing soups I've ever had. There was a line to get into this place. It was pretty small, but definitely a must-do dinner in Reykjavik. Just delicious. And we went to the Lebowski bar. This is the only night we went out in Iceland due to the price of drinks. But this is a big Lebowski theme bar. It's just, the theming's fantastic. It's fun. They have like 20 different kinds of white Russians. Like I got a caramel white Russian. You know, just such a fun bar. And you know, we had a great time there. So on our third day in Iceland, we went with Greyland Tours and did a Southern Iceland tour where we get to see waterfalls and an amazing black sand beach. So first we stopped at and this was like a 10-hour trip. So definitely longer. It was a long day, but it was very reasonably priced as well. So we first started, and the bus gave us, it was a comfortable bus, and they gave us a ton of information about Iceland. So I think it was really worth it. So basically, and we got to see the landscape along the way, including E15, which is the volcano that went off in like the 2010s. So we went to Skogafoss, was the first waterfall we went to. This is a fantastic waterfall. It's been featured in Game of Thrones. Jon and Daenerys kiss in front of it, and it's been featured in tons of other movies. So you can stand in front of the waterfall. You can also go up, it was like almost 500 steps to go to the top of the waterfall. I did this. I don't think it was really worth it because the views were better from the bottom, and it was definitely rough getting up to the top. Next, we went to Reynisfjara, if I'm saying that right, which is the black sand beach. We stopped in the town of Vik first, to get lunch, and then we went, which is the southernmost city in Iceland, and then we went to the black sand beach. I've never been to a black sand beach before, and this was one of my favorite parts of the trip. It was just amazing to see the black sand, different caves, the different basalt formations. There were sea stacks there of rocks. Basically here that you do have to be careful. The tide comes in really fast. There has been tourists that have been killed, so make sure you stand back. Even when we were taking pictures in a cave, the water came up super fast. The water wasn't even near us at the time. So, you know, there's signs all over. Just stand back. The water is very unpredictable, but definitely amazing. Our next stop was the Seljalandsfoss waterfall. This is a gorgeous waterfall, and my favorite part about it is you can actually walk behind it. There's a cave behind it, and so you can get a view of the waterfall behind it. Just know that you're probably going to get wet if you go behind it, so protect your phone or your camera. But I loved walking behind the waterfall here. Definitely, this whole trip was just fantastic. And on the way back to Reykjavik, we got to see the most amazing sunset along the Icelandic landscape. So definitely a great day. I definitely recommend. I like doing it as a guided tour. I would love to see it by myself sometime, but definitely recommend going to the south of Iceland. If you're in Iceland, and this is a fantastic day trip from Reykjavik. When we got back to Reykjavik, we went to the harbor to eat along the harbor. They had a fish buffet there, and then we got to see a surprise Northern Lights display. It usually doesn't come in the city of Reykjavik because of the light pollution, but they happened to be in the city that day, and it was an amazing end to our trip. On our last day in Iceland, we went to the Blue Lagoon. This is the famous spot. You've seen it. It's a famous hot spring. It is expensive to get into, but the milky blue water is just gorgeous, and I think it's definitely worth going to. If you're on a budget though, or you don't want to go to this tourist attraction, there are other hot springs in Iceland that are cheaper or free. We took a bus to the hot springs, and then it brought us to the airport. The Blue Lagoon's like very close to the airport, so I recommend going either once you land in Iceland or right before you're about to leave. We had a few hours there. It's fantastic. With your ticket, you get a drink at the bar in the pool. So, we just had a fun time. It was just gorgeous. It was such a relaxing way to end our trip. The silk on the water is supposed to be really good for your skin. Overall, we had a fantastic time in Iceland. It was definitely a trip I'll never forget, and I would love to go back there someday and drive the ring road and go to the other parts of the country we didn't get to see. This is really, the flights really aren't bad. So I definitely, especially if you're in the East Coast of the United States, definitely, try to make a trip to Iceland at some point in your life. You will not regret it.